Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to 3 Buck Theater 4. It's the 23rd of May, or 24th of May. I don't know why. I can't remember dates today, even though today is, of course, Solo. Solo drops in a couple hours here on the West Coast. I'm excited to go see it. I've got my tickets. I'm seeing it in 3D because it was the only thing that was available. So I'm going to suffer for my art in terms of sitting through a movie that hopefully will be good. I'm hoping. There's a lot of hatred for it online right now. A lot of people wanting to shit on the movie, but not me, not me. I definitely want it to be good. So there's a lot to get through today. So let's just jump right into it here. There's clearly a lot's gone on in Hollywood and entertainment. And first things first, did you guys know that the Shining is getting a sequel? Yeah, I believe I can speak for many people when I look at this and I simply say, why is this happening? Why do we need a sequel to The Shining? We don't at all. It's we don't need Danny Torrance's story. I that's just me. You could think differently. It says here a film adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining sequel is moving ahead. Directed by Mike Flanagan, who is most recently impressed with his adaptation of King's Gerald's Game for Netflix, Warner Brothers has confirmed that the sequel is scheduled for release January 24th, 2020. So, okay, Mike Flanagan came in, did Gerald's Game. It was well received on Netflix. Obviously, they want to give him this story that no one's asking for. Again, we don't always need a pointless sequel, right? You know, in video games, they say, like, you don't always need multiplayer. A good single-player foundation can sell a game. We can have a single story. It's fine. Yeah, no, thank you. I'm totally okay. But Doctor Sleep is what it's called, and it says it was published in 2013, which is set 36 years after the original publication. The story picks up decades after The Shining and follows a middle-aged Danny Torrance who's still traumatized by his father's actions at the Overlook Hotel and begins to show signs of psychic abilities once again. Doctor Sleep takes place years after the events at Overlook Hotel and focuses on now. Yeah, okay, so he's crazy. So Danny Torrance is now kind of crazy, going back into the shinin. Remember, we can't say The Shining because of copyright abuse. I don't know. I didn't read Doctor Sleep. I'd heard vaguely about it 5 years ago. No one I know who is a huge King aficionado ever really brought this up, so I don't know if it's any good or not. But again, it's one of those things where it's like our audience is going to flock to this. Our audience is going to like a sequel to a movie that came out, you know, in the early 80s. Are people going to flock to the cinemas to know what Danny Torrance has been up to 36 years later? And the answer to that is probably not many. Probably not many. But the only reason why it's happening right now is because of the success of it. That's literally it. Right, $300 million in September, an R-rated movie that did very, very, very well. The sequel is slated to come out September of 2019. This one pushed to January 24th, 2020. You can see that Warner's is trying to employ a different strategy here. Their strategy ultimately is to release these types of films, these are R-rated, because this will be R-rated, guaranteed. These R-rated films in off-season months to see whether or not they pick up. Because we're in a weird place right now with Hollywood where what they're doing is they're figuring out that summer movie season really only belongs to like 3 or 4 films. And everything else that's pushing to come out in that time is just going to get swallowed up. So these big budget blockbusters are going to end up just getting hurt because they're not able to compete when like movies like Avengers Infinity War and Deadpool and Solo are all doing well, we don't know about Solo yet, but they're all doing gangbusters in terms of their numbers. And so releasing them in off seasons works. I mean, look at it. Came out last September, did really well. You had Beauty and the Beast, which traditionally would have been like a summer release for that type of film, released mid-March last year, grossed $1 billion. Logan, early release in March, grossed a lot of money. Black Panther in February, $1.3 billion. These movies can make money in off seasons, and we're learning that now, which is why they're pushing it to January. January is no longer considered the dead zone it once was. There used to be a time, and I'm not even kidding you, where your peak movie going months were, you know, if you look at it at the beginning from the summer, it'd be May, June, July, great. August, so-so. September, October, absolutely dead. right? With the end of October picking up a little bit. November, December would do pretty good. January, February were dead. March and April would start to kind of lead into May again. Now it's all over the place. Now anything could hit. You have no idea. People are always going to find ways to pay for entertainment, and the movie theater game is constantly scrambling, trying to play catch up. And this is one of the things that I really hope is going to be done well. So with this, I can see why Warner's is doing it. I don't necessarily think we need it, but the guy who did Gerald's Game, which was well received, could bring maybe a solid look to this. But the thing is, let's be realistic though. If he ain't employing Kubrick's tricks, it's not going to hold up as well. Right? One of the coolest things about Ready Player One, and spoiler alert, is they kind of show a little bit of The Shining, and they recreate a bit of The Shining. And as a result of that, it was a cool scene. It was like, oh wow, they really recreated Kubrick's look. I mean, because granted, they probably took a lot from the movie and then just digitized it and worked around it in CG, but it was able to maintain that feel. The Overlook Hotel looked as menacing and scary as the original movie did in 2018's Ready Player One. I was watching in the theater going like, oh, it's the Overlook. And I was really excited because it was so cool. If this doesn't give that back, if this doesn't do the same thing again, we're going to be seeing a lot of people that are just not going to be super, super, super happy with it. And speaking of people not happy with things, Damon Lindelof's Watchmen apparently isn't an adaptation or a sequel. So what, Damon Lindelof? What's going on here? Now, when this was first announced that HBO was going to be doing a 10-episode Watchmen series, or at least the 10-episode first season of the Watchmen, a lot of people out there were like, oh yeah, because this is a story that needs to be told episodically. It needs to be told long form. Zack Snyder's Watchmen Ultimate Cut coming in at 4 hours is amazing. It is amazing. And for what he was able to do, but even that was just an adaptation. So we thought this would be more of a straightforward one. And apparently this is more of a remix. Yeah, because the last thing anyone wants is Damon Lindelof to turn the Watchmen into some shitty rap song you would hear at a club, where it's just you hearing the beat and then some DJ comes on like, this is the remix. You don't want that. No one wants that. And I've seen that live, and that's just the stupidest thing ever. Now it says here, Lindelof told fans on Tuesday that his Watchmen adaptation for HBO will be a remixed version of Alan Moore's 12-issue classic graphic novel, saying, we have no desire to adapt the 12 issues Mr. Moore and Mr. Gibbons created 30 years ago. Those issues are sacred ground, and they will not be retread nor recreated, nor reproduced, nor rebooted. They will, however, be remixed. So isn't that like... That's just some like artsy hipster way of saying like, we don't want to mess with the original thing, but we're going to make it totally better. Okay. Like we're going to put glitter and sparkle, and we're going to bring back Rorschach from the dead. And this time he's not going to be angry. He's just totally going to be this wonderful happy-go-lucky guy. Like that's the remix there. That's the juxtaposition of the character. I just know it's, like just, what, man, people don't want a remix. People don't want, they want a straight adaptation. That's what they want. Why are you going to mess with that? It doesn't make any sense to me. So it says here, Lindelof described the original 86 comic as our Old Testament and likened his HBO series to when the New Testament came along. It did not erase what came before it. To be clear, The Watchmen is canon. So, okay, but the Old Testament was like fire, brimstone, right? Right? Wasn't the Old Testament like God smiteth you? Did you eat meat on a Friday? You are now damned, sir. You are going to hell, sir. This is what they did. That's the Old Testament, like the locusts and plagues and wrath of an almighty angry God. The New Testament was very much a hippie testament, right? Hey, man, peace and love, man. Right? Like, what the fuck are you doing to Watchmen, you son of a bitch? It's the same thing you did to Prometheus. The same thing the same thing you did to Lost. Damn it, Lindelof. Now, granted, look, The Leftovers apparently got really good by the time it hit this third season. But ultimately, it was just... no, man. Like, I'm totally okay without this thing doing that. Now, it says here, he says, so we're not making a sequel either. The story will be set in a world its creators painstakingly built, but in the tradition of the work that inspired it, this new story must be original. Oh, Jesus. Then don't call it Watchmen. Don't call it Watchmen. You know, like, just don't do it. Just call it, like, you know, like, yeah, because this isn't going to make Alan Moore happy either. He's sitting there right now looking like Howard Hughes, you know, storing bottles of piss, like, I'm coming for you, Lindelof. You know, it's just and it says, so, and perhaps the most surprising break from the source material is it will all be set in the present day. Like, part of the aesthetic of what made Watchmen so interesting was when it was set the 1980s, post-Vietnam, Reagan era. I mean, dealing with all the elements it dealt with. And okay, maybe he'll find a way to, look at the current situation with Donald Trump and North Korea and the nuclear problem there as being probably what's going to replace the whole situation with the 2 minutes, with the clock and the 2 minutes to midnight sort of thing. Like the, nuclear destruction. I think that's what he's going to be aiming for. If you want to talk about the present day material, they're going to remix it, base it around that. That's what they're going to probably remix it as. And it's just like, we're not in a Cold War again, because it's, it's the height of the Cold War where Nixon was still president and costume heroes roamed the streets. Both in the comic and Zack Snyder's movie revolve around a group of mostly retired American superheroes who investigate the murder of one of their own. And he did conclude here saying that the new characters will also intend to revisit the past century of costume adventuring through a surprising yet familiar set of eyes. So it's going to be either Dr. Manhattan or Silk Scepter, and then he has a 5-page letter, which I'm not going to read. It's one of those more ridiculous aspects of it. But it's so stupid to me in this regard to have this particular story. Just don't remix it. Just don't make it contemporary. Don't make it this other thing. Just retell the story, because I don't think people are going to be as fond of it up front. I'll say up front. I don't know. The show could be good. It could be great. It could be glorious. It could be one of the best things we've ever seen. And then we have to wait for it to come out. But in the meantime, it's like, just coming out and calling it a remix is not what fans want. But this is the world we live in now, and unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it. But speaking of some more dumb stuff, apparently Show Dogs is getting recut by Global Road in response to concerns over inappropriate sex abuse message. Not against humans, by the way. Oh no, this has nothing to do with humans. All about the doggies. The doggies being sexually abused for a joke. I'm not even making that up too. So it says here, Global Road is stepping up and recutting its family film Show Dogs after mommy bloggers, because always the mommy bloggers, and groups that include the National Center on Sexual Exploitation took issue with the subplot involving the lead undercover police dog, Max, voiced by Ludacris, who while being inspected at a dog show becomes comfortable with strangers touching his genitals. Yeah, that's where we are right now. That's where we are. People, mommy bloggers, they mad because there's a scene in a movie where a dog at a dog show gets the genitals fondled, as if that doesn't happen all the time in a dog show. Now, the new cut of the film will be available in theaters by this weekend. In a statement, Global Road Entertainment says, responding to concern raised by moviegoers and some specific organizations, Global Road Entertainment has decided to remove 2 scenes from the film Show Dogs that some have deemed inappropriate for children. The company takes these matters very seriously and remains committed to providing quality entertainment for the intended audiences based on the film's rating. We apologize to anyone who feels that the original version of Show Dogs sent an inappropriate message. The revised version of the film will be available for viewing nationwide starting this weekend. So, okay, you've got a scene in a movie at a dog show where an undercover cop is going to go in there and then he gets his genitals fondled, right? Now, the reason here people are mad about it is because it says that it sends the wrong message to kids, that it's okay for children to become comfortable with inappropriate touching, which is entirely the right statement to have. You never want children to be, comfortable with inappropriate touching. You always want them to be aware of like stranger danger. You always want there to be all this stuff, right? And it says here that in the scenes, Max is advised by a former champion dog to go to his Zen place in order to get through the dog show's genital inspection. And the thing is, though, is that like the dog show, these things actually happen, right? So when dogs go and they go to the best of show or they do that whole thing, they get their genitals inspected. Why not focus the attention on like, hey, maybe don't do that, right? Like if you're upset at it happening in a movie, but you're not upset at it happening in real life, then what the hell? Now, I understand there's going to be the whole segment there of like, this is like the dog's Me Too moment, right? And obviously that's where a lot of this is coming from. But at the same time, it's just, It's just ridiculous. It's just I don't know. I feel like maybe it shouldn't have been there in the first place, but once it's there, it's like the movie only made 6 million last weekend. And it has an A- cinema score, so really people aren't that upset at it. So mommy bloggers, meaning a couple people, but then again, mommy bloggers think that they're super influential, right? Mommy bloggers are most like think of the most egotistical YouTuber you know of, and then apply that to a mother and a blog. And that's where a lot of those come from. Now, the National Center on Sexual Exploitation released a statement blasting the film, saying that the movie sends a troubling message that grooms children for sexual abuse. It contains multiple scenes where a dog character must have his private parts inspected, in the course of which the dog is uncomfortable and wants to stop, but is told to go to a zen place. The dog is rewarded with advancing to the final round of the show after passing the barrier. Disturbingly, these are similar tactics child abusers use when grooming children, telling them to pretend they are somewhere else and that they will get a reward for withstanding their discomfort. Children's movies must be held to a higher standard. It must teach children bodily autonomy, the ability to say no, and safety, not confusing messages endorsing unwanted genital touching. And look, I get that, and I'm not against their pushback on it. I understand the message that they are trying to send. But at the same time, why not be mad at dog shows for doing this? Where's going to be the PETA rising up and saying, Ein Minuten bitte, what about the dogs? I'm just like, if you're mad about one, you should be mad about the other. And they're not. And I don't know. I know people are going to go, but it's children over dogs. But it's kind of like, if you're going to be activist for something, why not at least, take it a step further then and fight for dog safety? I don't like dog shows. I find them to be, more torturous to watch than anything else. But here we are, and the movie, an A- cinema score. Kids apparently like it. I do believe it's from the director of the Scooby-Doo, the first Scooby-Doo movie. Raja Gosnell, I think, directed this one. So he puts in a little bit of adult humor in there. If you go back and watch 2003's Scooby-Doo, written by James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy fame, you can see that there's a lot of humor there. There's a lot of adult humor, a lot of adult jokes. And it's not going to register with children, but we're in this age now where any kind of adult humor that's going to go into these particular films that are going to make the adults laugh is now going to be looked at as a potential avenue for abuse for children. So get ready for a couple rocky years of children's movies when, they just make it all crazy stuff. But that being said, I don't have any intention to seeing the movie. Thank God my daughter is not of age to watch this yet, and I don't think I will see it now. This isn't going to draw me to the theater. That's the other thing too. So here's my question: the movie only made $6 million, right? Not a lot of money. So my question is Global Road Entertainment, are they actually going to sit there and put this movie out with the new changes, with the edits, as a way to bring in more people? The people who might have been scared away by these claims from these mommy bloggers, are they now going to get the endorsement from the mommy bloggers, which are then going to bring in the viewers? Now, the thing with that is, and this is what I've learned when I was researching mommy blogs for when I thought about having a daddy blog, because I'm a stay-at-home dad, is that these women, while egotistical, are in some aspects influential, and they make a shitload of money being this way. Like there's so many things that they are able to pull off because they mommy bloggers are like crazy. So if they give the seal of approval, that could then bring in more money and therefore allow the company to get more cash. And if that's the case, then it's a solid business tactic. To be honest, it would be a solid business move to do that. And speaking of solid business moves, in time for a quick break, I'd like to show you guys my Patreon. This is how you want to support the channel. Best way to go about it. Patreon.com/Mundane Matt, and just want to put that out there for a quick little thing. Look at it. It's fine. It won't hurt you. It doesn't bite. It needs your help to survive. Anyway. I have no idea. I'm terrible at shilling products, by the way. That's why no one ever wants to hire me. But here's one that I find to be funny. So there's an Avengers 4 synopsis that apparently has leaked out, and it reveals her fragile reality and sacrifice. Now, this has no plot details, so don't worry about that in terms of spoilers, but this did make its way out there, and let's take a look at this here. It says, even over a month after its release in theaters, Infinity War still has the Marvel Cinematic Universe fans scratching their heads and getting into full conspiracy theory mode. Watching Thanos complete his hero's journey and wiping out half the universe along with some of the MCU's most beloved heroes was almost too much for some fans to handle. But how does this set up Avengers 4? We still don't have a concrete answer for that question, but a recently released synopsis for Avengers 4 may shed light on some of the theories being dissected online. Thanks to licensed Global Magazine, we now have the first synopsis for Avengers 4. For context, it should be noted that the same magazine also had the first synopsis for Infinity War a whole year before the movie hit theaters. That being said, the brief synopsis talks about fragile reality and sacrifice, which is all most fans need to know when thinking about the alternate realities and time travel, as well as more death. And this is what the synopsis here says. The culmination of 22 interconnected films. The fourth installment of the Avengers saga will draw audiences to witness the turning point of this epic journey. Our beloved heroes will truly understand how fragile this reality is and the sacrifices that must be made to uphold it. Now, obviously, looking at the end of the movie, there's people are kind of like, what, right? And I know the article's like, left fans scratching their heads and conspiracy theory modes. I look at it more like, well, we already know the release schedule for Marvel through 2020, pretty basically. So them doing it, and I guess I should say them, the weight of Infinity War didn't really register as much as it could have, in my opinion. It didn't really register as well as it could have. And the reason why is simply because it just didn't, what's coming. So certain people, and what happens, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, well, they're already going to be back. So I already know that. Like, I already know what's going to happen. So whatever's going to happen next is apparently where we're going to find the finality of the situation. I don't know what's going to happen in Avengers 4, but I know it's going to focus on Hawkeye and Ant-Man and anyone else who wasn't heavily featured in the first one. And there were most of the people featured in the first one. So it's kind of like, whoever's left right now and then whoever wasn't in the movie is going to be a big part of it. I think we're going to get a good tie-in with Ant-Man and the Wasp. And going into that, and then there's nothing until Captain Marvel until March of next year, which is going to end up being a prequel set in the 1990s, which will then tie into Avengers Infinity War. And then, of course, we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which doesn't premiere until next summer, meaning that it's probably going to tie into the 13-episode order for season 6 is going to end up tying into Avengers Infinity War and probably wrapping up the show, I would say, there in order to tie in with the movie more directly. But yeah, I'm not too sure what's going to come, but them saying here about, fragility or fragile reality and sacrifice. There are people that are going to die, but I ultimately, looking at the contracts, looking at what's available, I really only think that like one person is going to die. And if I make my speculation about who is going to make the ultimate sacrifice and never return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's going to be Captain America. That's Chris Evans is going to go out a hero's death. Maybe him, maybe Tony, but that's the two that I'm thinking. And that being said, I also feel like that's going to be a solid end. The start of the MCU and the heart of the MCU are going to, I think, sacrifice themselves while rekindling their friendship. I think that's going to end with them becoming bros again and then fighting, and then that's where it's going to go. And you know what? And that would be a fitting end. And I guarantee you, I'm a crier at this kind of stuff. So I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen with that when it comes out next May. But other things I'm interested in, and I don't know how true they are. This new Star Wars tape hints at a Thrawn coming to live action. So if you don't know who Grand Admiral Thrawn is, old school character, and now what's called Star Wars Legends or Legacy, whatever it's called, was originally the EU. One of the biggest, baddest motherfuckers around was Thrawn in the old EU, and fans were like, they were mad when Disney bought it, and they were like, your EU is now gone, right? They treated it like Thanos did everyone else. They snapped, that was it. And so there's that. But now we get this little thing, and this is a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. Now it says Star Wars Rebels Thrawn. I love that they call it Star Wars Rebels. Never mind, they're completely ignoring or whatever. I'm nitpicking. I'll admit I'm nitpicking. Thrawn may make a live-action appearance in an upcoming Star Wars project. Prior to Disney buying Lucasfilm, for several years, a company behind the galaxy far, far away continued to create stories. These characters in Avengers have since become known as legends, as they look to narrow what actually is going to be considered canon going forward. While fans of these properties were disappointed by this decision, the story group at Lucasfilm has continued to reintroduce elements from Legends. One of their biggest examples is putting Grand Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels for Season 3 and Season 4. And from what I've seen of him in Season 3, he's awesome. Awesome character. Great bad guy. I'm so behind on Rebels. Now it says, serving as a major villain for those 2 seasons, fans of the character have been eager to learn more about him. That so far has come with Timothy Zahn writing a new Thrawn book, but the hope has still been that a live-action role could be in the blue-skinned Chris's future, thanks to a new audition tape that could be happening. Omega Underground discovered an audition tape posted by Adam Templar that features him with blue-painted skin auditioning for the role of Grand Admiral Thrawn. There's no indication for what the project is, and the video itself may not help much either. Screen tests like these rarely use actual footage from a project, and that looks to be the case here. Thrawn says they are on the hunt for Jedi Master Shakar, a character not yet established in canon. It also says here that if this audition is part of a casting call made by Lucasfilm to find someone to portray Thrawn, it is an exciting move for them to take. It would mark the first major character. Saw Gerrera was a supporting role to jump from the small screen to big screen potentially. Lucasfilm's current priority on the movie side of its casting for Star Wars Episode 9, but an appearance by Thrawn would be very surprising. Thrawn isn't known to be still alive after all these years, despite having survived Rebels finale, so spoilers there, I guess. So an appearance is still unconfirmed. Obi-Wan, a Star Wars story, could make more sense for the timeline, but since that movie's status is still unclear, it's too early for them to be casting, unless Lucasfilm was just trying to be extra sensitive. And then another possibility is that Thrawn could be going to Jon Favreau's live-action show. Since Thrawn has been a TV character so far, it's more believable that this is where he'd make a live-action debut. Favreau's show also picks up after the events of the original trilogy, which means they'd only have to explain his absence for the last decade or so. Thrawn moving to live action would undoubtedly be a great direction for the character, so whether or not it's actually what Lucasfilm was planning for the future of Star Wars remains to be seen. So so that's some stuff there to look at, right? That's some stuff there to pay attention to. I would argue that I would agree effectively that the live action TV show is probably more likely. When I first heard about this news yesterday, people were going like, Obi-Wan. They want the Obi-Wan movie. And I think Lucasfilm should take note of this. And we've already kind of seen Lucasfilm, like when they finish up episode 9, that's going to be it. And then they're moving on to more of the like anthology saga stuff. And that's going to be fine on their end. But bringing in some of these characters would probably go a long way to maybe smooth over where some things are with the fans right now, because it is a very divided fan base in terms of the current iterations of Star Wars versus the previous, whereas the EU or the Legend side of things and Rebel, it's a mess. It's a real bad mess. And I have seen some crazy ass conspiracy theories coming out of this too, like Disney wants to indoctrinate your children with this, and it's all about Jewish takeover. Oh Jesus. Commenters on the internet are a very interesting breed, especially those who get really mad about everything. But if they bring Thrawn into a live action, I think that's going to be really cool, because what we need, this is truly what they need. They need a good villain. Darth Vader was a great villain, right? Darth Sidious was a good villain. Even though we knew who he was still a good villain. He was still able to play it behind the scenes, and you already knew, which may have been one of the things that added to the allure of the character. But Kylo Ren, I mean, like, he's okay, right? Snoke was meant to be this big, badass mofo. Snoke was this, big bad guy. And then what happened with Snoke? Oh, he was halved. Yeah, right. Talk about subverting expectations, Johnson. But right? I mean, it's like, so we don't have a big bad guy now. We have Kylo. And it's not resonating in the same way. What you need is someone like Thrawn to come in and cockslap these motherfuckers around in order to really make them see, that a good villain is what's going to sell this product down the road. But okay, guys, finally, let's talk about the image that I had on the thumbnail here. Transformers 7 pulled from Paramount's schedule. This one was kind of shocking to me, because Paramount pretty much, they really rely on these Transformers movies. And I'm actually surprised it's happening. So it says here, Paramount has pulled the 7th Transformers movie from its 2019 schedule. The film, set for release on June 28th, 2019, the studio will open the spin-off Bumblebee on December 21st. Michael Bay did direct the first 5 movies, and Travis Knight, who works at Leica Studios, actually he co-founded Leica Studios outside of Portland, Oregon, also directed Kubo and the Two Strings, will be directing did helm Bumblebee. The studio will release Tiffany Haddish's comedy Limited Partners on that date. Paramount, it said, is replacing Transformers with a Tiffany Haddish comedy. Okay. Neither one I want to see. Paramount set up the project last fall with writer Sam Pickman and Adam Kokelly. Okay, so all right, and nothing else really here about Transformers. It's just that they changed it. But let's take a look at maybe as to why this happened. Let's just take a quick look as to why. So looking over here in Box Office Mojo, we get to see the Transformers franchise and what it's earned. Starting here with Transformers 1 in 2007, July 3rd, 2007, it grossed $319 million, right? Just domestic, right? 425, or if you just, well, okay, let's just go, we're just going to go total grosses here. So 319 million for that one. And then Transformers Dark of the Moon, which came out 2 years later, was 352 million. Revenge of the Fallen was 402. I mean, and this is the thing too, is Transformers Dark of the Moon was panned by critics and fans because it was rushly made during the writer's strike in order to meet that June 29th release date. And then, of course, Revenge of the Fallen, you figure, was arguably a much better movie, in my opinion, than the sequel before that. But then you look at the Age of Extinction, which came out in 2014. So it came out 3 years later, only 245 million. And then Transformers The Last Night, it was only 130 million. Now, Transformers The Last Night, in my opinion, suffered from a big problem that last summer had, which is, and as I kind of explained at the beginning of this episode, where I feel like most summer movies had the problem here, is that you have so much jam packed in that it just becomes the money only goes to like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 movies, and Transformers was just not the one to get it. But that being said, the movies have also gone down in quality. Michael Bay, you can tell, didn't care about Age of Extinction or The Last Night. I never finished watching Age of Extinction. I watched about half the movie and that was enough, and I haven't watched The Last Night yet. But Age of Extinction substituted any kind of cohesive plot for explosions that were they were big and they were practical, right? They were practical explosions. But the thing is nothing blew up. They were just fireballs going off in the air. That was it. Nothing actually was destroyed. So any kind of any kind of realism there, so to speak, or any kind of connection to that type of on-screen destruction was gone. And you could tell Michael Bay was just somewhat phoning it in. Never mind the fact Transformium as the element that connects to I don't know, just the writer. People give Fast and Furious crap for having the way it's written, but yet they kind of they don't give Transformers the same crap. And then The Last Night just came across as whatever. So I was hoping that Bumblebee, I still want to see Bumblebee because I love the character, but I was hoping it was going to kind of be a lead-in for maybe a soft reboot. And that was the whole thing, was Transformers 7 was supposed to be a soft reboot and kind of go back and maybe move away from where Michael Bay took it. But these are movies that obviously outlived their usefulness here. They outlived their longevity. They should have stopped with Revenge of the Fallen, waited a few years, maybe done a couple spin-offs, and then maybe done a reboot, or found a way to keep, bring in Beast Wars. That was a rumor for a while, but no, unfortunately they didn't, because Paramount doesn't know how to run a company at this point. They keep losing everything. So I don't really feel bad for them anymore. But all right, guys, that's all the news stories I got for today. We'll take some questions. We'll definitely take some questions here. So, what do you guys got? What do you guys think? Let's see here. Will Lando have sex with a droid? Yes, actually, Sammy, he will. That will be a thing. Lando will definitely have sex with a droid at some point in time. Okay. So, let's see here. All right, let me take a look. I got a super chat here from Star-Lord for $5. What do I think of the TV series Rookie starring Nathan Fillion? They should just call it Castle 2.0 and have him become a rookie, and then work his way up to detective. That should be the thing. He should lose everything, right? Like bad deals, something happens where all of his books go away, All of his money goes away. He loses everything he's ever built, and he has to go back to the ground floor. But he has all the skills he learned from hanging out with Beckett and Sean and Esposito from the show. And then he goes and becomes a rookie, and then wants to work his way up to being a detective. That could be the show. It would take him 7 seasons to hit detective rank, but that could be where the show ends. Because in reality, it takes you about 7 years to become a detective. So there's that to consider. But yeah, there's that. That's what I think about that. I'll check it out when it comes out. I'll definitely check it out, but I don't know. Anthony, yeah, I was streaming last night on the main channel. I don't know when I'm gonna stream all the time. So there's that. Let's see. What is accomplished by Lando having sex with a droid? Porcelain, the answer to that is actually nothing. But that's not even really the point here. The point about Lando having sex with a droid has everything to do with like him kind of playing up that pansexuality character, right? That idea of like, hey baby, I'm a sex you up to get what I want. The whole point is that he's so loose with his sexuality that like he'll use it. He'll basically have sex with anything in order to get what he wants. And that's just what the whole thing is. So there's that. Wait, Starlord, did you just pledge 20 on Patreon? Hold on. Let me see here. What? Oh wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, man. I just got the email update on that one. Wow, thank you so much, Starlord. I appreciate it. Lewis, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Movies, I love talking. I love the main channel. I talk about other stuff on the main channel. But I love doing the movie stuff. I think it's a lot of fun. So it's definitely, the movies are where more of my passion is, obviously. That gamer, why is everyone hating on the new Solo movie? It's fashionable in some respects. There was Ethan Van Shriver, who's a comic book artist, has a channel where he talks a lot about it, and I was looking at just his headlines last night, right? He was talking about like 40, like the majority of Star Wars fans are boycotting the movie. Not true. He's another one. 56% of Star Wars fans are boycotting the movie. Again, not true. He goes over to like Rotten Tomatoes and he looks at this number and then you can see how many people are like have voted on it. And I'm like, dude, the general math doesn't even back up. Like I did basic math and blew him the fuck out of the water. But my video, mostly disliked. And the thing is, it's so fashionable to hate on Solo. So when I see the movie tonight, and I probably will end up liking it, and I come home and I do my review, I guarantee I'm going to be called a shill, and like World Class Bullshitters is going to like make a video about me or some shit, as they've been trying to. No, I'm not gonna. I don't think Solo's gonna flop. That's the thing. Is like it's the movie. The movie is already outsold Black Panther in terms of ticket sales, so that's not gonna flop. It may have a bit of a rocky start, but I think coming off of the whole situation involving The Last Jedi and the way that a lot of people took the critical response to Last Jedi as being this like 10 out of 10 perfect godsend of a movie, and it really wasn't. And the disparity between the two, that the critics aren't liking Solo as much, means that I think a lot of fans are going to like Solo. It's very much a pendulum shift. It's a shift. It's a back and forth sort of thing. Very interesting. Thank you, Hypothesis. Yeah, I'm still having OBS is still messing up on me, man. Let me bring that up here. Thank you for the Streamlabs. Let me just refresh this here. Okay. All right. So you're fine with Iron Man, Captain America dying, but only if they're singing Goofy Goober right before they die. What is Goofy Goober? I don't know that track. I don't know what Goofy Goober is. Oh, God damn it. I'm not. Oh, SpongeBob. Why must you sully my show with SpongeBob? Why must you sully my show with SpongeBob, you bastard? You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. But no, I'm okay with them dying too. I think that'd be fine. It'd be a good way to kind of like move things forward. But we already know like a lot of the characters are, they keep going like, is Black Panther going to come back? Like they keep playing that up as if it's not going to happen. It's totally going to. Chadwick Boseman signed on for multiple films. Okay, Revolticum? I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. Yeah, Daniel, real quick, I did see that, I'm going to talk about that on the main channel today, about 8 women alleging harassment and misconduct by Morgan Freeman, that I did see. So, and I'm like, good luck, nailing down Morgan Freeman. I'm just saying it's probably not going to happen because he'll just be like, it didn't happen. And they'll be like, no, 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 it never happened. It never happened. Okay, so do I think that you can watch the Transformers movies knowing they're not Oscar worthy? Oh, dude, I watched The Room for fun, right? I watched The Room for legitimate enjoyment, knowing it is not Oscar worthy. Yes, I will watch tons of movies knowing they're not Oscar worthy. Not everything has to be Oscar worthy. I don't even give a fuck about the Oscars. What I care about is whether or not I'm entertained. If I'm entertained, then I am good. That's the way, that's the way I see it. If I'm entertained, I'm happy. And movies like, Transformers 4 at least did not entertain me at all. Just did not entertain me. So Chris Rockford here says we might as well say we boycott every movie we don't see it. Exactly. Hold on. Is it Revolticon? Is it Revolticon? Revolt Icon? Revolt Icon? You know what? I'm going to be practicing that all day now. Hey, Magog, what's up, man? Solo is coming out already. I thought Star Wars movies don't come out till December. Dude, Magog, it opens tonight. Like, where the fuck have you been? I love you, man, but where the fuck have you been? I know you're gonna say school. That's your default answer for everything these days, but no, it opens up tonight, man. It opens up tonight, so I'm definitely down. And why? Hold on, why aren't you a mod on this channel? Okay, I want everyone here, the 66 of you watching right now, go check out Magog of Morskar. If you like really good social commentary, with a bit of a a good twist. I don't want to give away his shtick, but he's a wizard from another realm, and he makes lots of jokes. He's a good dude. He's a friend of mine. I really recommend his stuff. Oh, Revolticon. Okay, there we go. Why are so many franchises that are favorite, or why are many franchises from our favorite properties are having divided fan bases? Well, okay, what you have, Oliver, is this is how I view it, at least. So in terms of the what you have is you have your original fan base that wants things done a certain way, i.e. what they remember from being younger, right? And oftentimes our childhood stuff franchises are bathed in pure nostalgia, and sometimes they don't necessarily hold up, right? Like The Last Starfighter, for example. When I was a kid, oh my god, I love that movie. When I'm an adult, oh my god, that movie is horrible. It's not that the movie itself is bad, it's everything is dated and you can see the problems with it, right? Very few movies hold up from then. Goonies holds up, Monster Squad holds up, Explorers holds up, but there's a lot that don't. Even like go back to The Never-Ending Story. Wolfgang Peterson did a good job with it, and it's a very iconic movie. But going back and looking at it, you're like, there's some problems. Like, the whole thing with like like Atreyu and the horse and stuff like that. It's just like the acting. But anyway, nowadays what we have is we have these people that want things to be a certain way. They want, or at least to be in theme a certain way compared to how they were, which they argue is like, why can't you go back to that? Like, for example, Clash of the Titans, when they remade that in 2010, one of my friends legitimately made the comment to me one night. He's like, I don't even see why they're remaking it with a new script. Why don't they just take the old script and then they just make that again, but now? Like, why do they need to change it? And that's a valid question. Why, if you're gonna remake something, why not just take the exact same screenplay, which worked, and then change it? But then go back and watch the original Clash of the Titans, and the script's a little janky, right? Some stuff doesn't make a lot of sense. So that logic, that theory, while that's what you want because that's what your brain remembers, is not always going to be the best thing going forward. But then what we have now is we have these journalists. They're all pundits. I'm a pundit. I'm not a journalist. But you get all these journalists that are just like, oh yes, it has to be a certain way. We need diversity quotas, and we need to make sure that it's the wrong things aren't shown on screen. And then it becomes this holier than thou mindset, because a lot of them are holier than thou because they do live in a very, very, very small bubble, and their heads are all up each other's asses, absolutely just imbibing their farts. And that becomes a big problem. And we see this even in some respects in YouTube with some people that are here in different communities and whatnot. But that's a big thing. And so then you get this kind of fight where someone's like, well, okay, case in point, Ghostbusters. I keep going back to Ghostbusters because this just kind of feels like it's the best example of this. So go back 2 years, because it's been that long, and they released the first trailer, right? And the first teaser trailer had the little thing on there where it says, 30 years ago, 4 friends saved the city. Now and then, right? And then you hear like da na 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 na, and then they do the little thing. Well, people are like, for one, they're going like, hold on a second here. It wasn't 4 friends. It was 3 scientists and Winston, right? It wasn't. It was that. And oh no, sorry. First, you said 4 scientists saved the world, and they're like, no. It's 3 scientists and Winston. Winston was he was the every guy. He was the average Joe. That's who he was. That's why people love Winston. And so then you go, and then the next day they released a trailer for the UK version where they change it and they say 30 years ago, 4 friends saved the city. And people are like, okay, that's a little bit better, but like at the same time, it's like this is not meant to be a reboot, or it's just meant to be a reboot, not a remake or a sequel. Right. So it's going to be a remake, not a reboot or a sequel. So what are you doing here? So then the comments were like, what the hell's going on? And then and then some assholes all like, fuck these bitches. And the journalists are like, well, there's clearly misogyny that's happening here. Misogyny, sexism. Yes, anyone who disagrees with this is clearly a misogynist or a sexist. That's what they did for fucking months leading into this thing. So if you wonder why over the course of March to July 2016, I rallied on about this movie, was because of all of that shit. And that's a prime example of showing you how fans were just like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, none of us really cared that it's got 4 women in it. Like, no one cares. Maybe a couple assholes do, but ignore them. But the valid criticism here is that this is clearly a cash grab, and this is clearly not taking the situation with respect. And of course, the big problem with that is that the journalists are like, no, you're just sexist and misogynists. And then, of course, that was backed up by the cast and the director, and even the fucking studio head said that shit. And so they created this massive divide. And then it goes into Star Wars, and they're like, oh, yeah, like Rey's a Mary Sue. I don't think Rey's a Mary Sue personally, but I can see the arguments. I always like to argue back against it, though. But that being said, like, there's a lot of big pushback against that. And then people are like, oh, you just don't want there to be a female in there. Well, no, the if you think about it, the way they've been pushing the progressive ideology in terms of Star Wars recently is, Episode 7 or Rogue One and Episode 8 were all female led. I have no problem with any of that. Most people I know don't have a problem with any of that, but there is a vocal minority out there that does make the claim that they're upset about that, and they try to say that it's ramming progressive politics down their throats. But like, if it's not a white guy, are you going to be upset? Like, that's my question. Is like, if it was like a Lando movie, would you sit there and say this isn't diverse enough? Where's the white co-lead? I mean, would that ever happen? No, obviously not. But the thing is, though, is that what you'll see is they attack it from either side, and they both speak in extremes, they both speak in hyperbole, and they both are vocal, and one is able to gain a platform and the other is able to gain a platform, and nothing ever fucking happens. And then you get people like me that are moderate in the center that are like, you're both fucking stupid, and I don't win any friends. So that's how it works out. Let's see here. The remake of Clash of the Titans was a story of Perseus by Michael Bay. Sucked. I enjoyed the first one. I never saw Wrath of the Titans, which I actually hear was better, but I just never got around to it. Let's see here. You can give a fuck about if the protagonist is an attack helicopter as long as they're well written. Rey is not well written. I do believe Rey needs more character exposition. That, horror punks, I will absolutely agree with you on. I do think Rey needs more character exposition. And I would have liked to have seen more from her in terms of her life on Jakku and the trials and tribulations she went through in order to get us to the point where we meet her scavenging inside a superstar destroyer that's crashed, right? That's what I like to have seen. And that doesn't need to be much. That doesn't need to be much. It just needs to be something. A little bit of something would go a long way. I think would go a very long way in helping establish the character. But at the same time, Luke Skywalker didn't, we never really saw him go through any kind of trials and tribulations. And he was, still able to kind of use the Force a little bit and hold the lightsaber, so it's, again, there's a juxtaposition between the two characters. One got a lot of shit for it. The other one didn't. And it's just like the vocal minority of people online that are doing this are kind of, they're stirring the pot in a way that's not leading to a valid discussion, in my opinion. Am I going to see the Pokemon's 21st movie? I no. Are people in the Discord right now in the green room? Hold on. Are people actually in there? NDO is. Not right now, man. I only got about another 12 minutes and everything else. I will probably, I could do that probably tomorrow. I try to keep these about an hour long. I got to go feed and take care of my daughter as soon as I'm done with this. So, unfortunately, that's not the case today, but, I'm definitely going to, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that. We'll definitely have a call in. Maybe we'll do a solo discussion or something like that. So, oh, are you talking? Oh, you're talking about what was it? Hercules, Disney's Hercules. Yeah. Oh man, whatever happened to James Woods? He used to be. I used to really like James Woods, and then he kind of went to shit. He just went to shit. Let's see here. You'd like to see both of them join forces, start a new Jedi Order. Oh, are you talking about Rey and Kylo? I have a feeling that I don't think Kylo's going to end up getting redeemed. I thought he would have a redemption arc. They were kind of hinting at it in Last Jedi. That didn't happen. But let's see here. Hold on. Hold on. I missed. There's a question there. Oh, do I think Comcast will buy Fox from Disney? No, I don't. I really honestly don't. The only reason why Comcast is pushing this deal through is because they want to compete with AT&T and Time Warner. That's it. That is the only reason. They've said this as much. And so essentially what happened is we found out that AT&T had paid Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, to basically kind of act as to get information on the situation. It didn't really work out very well. And then Trump came out and said that he was against the deal. Now, while Trump can't kill the deal himself, he could apply influence to the FTC chairman who will decide on the deal and then make that fall through. Now, if that falls through, Comcast has no reason to drop $60 billion to pick up Fox to compete with AT&T and Time Warner. So that's not going to happen. But then again, this is kind of where things are right now. Anything could change. I know they're reestablishing that they're interested in this, but the deal for $52.4 billion, I keep saying $54 billion, I was wrong, is $52.4 billion. The deal that Disney struck with Fox is basically all stock, right? And so in the long term, they want stock because the stock will raise in price. The stock will raise in price with the acquisition of Fox. So basically Fox will be given, about $52.5 billion almost. And then when that deal goes through, those stock prices will raise because of everything that Disney now acquired, and they'll be able to add into the MCU. So those stock prices will go up. They'll be able to add those into different theme parks. They'll be able to do all that merchandising. The stock prices will increase, and therefore will get them more than $60 million. Fox selling to Comcast for cash is not something that Fox needs right now. They don't need the money. They don't, ultimately. And as a result of that, it's a better business decision for their shareholders who will look at this and go, Disney's the better option versus Comcast. Because Comcast has made it clear that they only want it in order to compete with another merger. That's it. So Fox might be playing a little bit of hardball, but as far as I know, the deal is still struck between Disney and Fox. Comcast has come in with a side offer, but I don't know if it's even been entertained yet or not. Nathan Oswald here, $2. Raylo is the stupidest thing ever. I completely agree. I completely agree. So, let's see here. Is Solo a gay rights movie? I don't know. If so, it's I don't know. I'll tell you tonight after I see it. Let's see here. Any tip for anybody for newbies on Twitch? Dude, just keep doing it, man. Just keep doing it and then build up a social media following, and then go from there. Let's see. Disney is a better alternative than Comcast. I completely agree. Like I just pointed out, the stock prices are going to be the thing. That was an article. I'll bring that up for tomorrow's episode. But there was an article about that. That's why that's on my mind. I read it and I meant to have it for today, but I totally spaced. Because yes, it's so funny. This morning I woke up and I'm looking through the news stories. I'm like, there's really nothing here we're talking about. And then of course I find a bunch of stuff. So do I think it's sort of a good thing that net neutrality got repealed in the sense that power is now restored to the states? No, because I'm getting fucked over by Comcast, and I live in Washington where they're basically trying to sue to keep the net neutrality laws in place. Comcast raised my rate by over $20 a month. So no, it's not a good thing. And the service has gotten shittier. So I'm apparently on this, like, I'm supposed to get 250 megabytes, whatever, down. I'm getting like 30, which is not bad. Like, oh, woe is me, 30 megabytes. But it's like, if I'm paying for this boost amount and I'm not getting that boost amount, then I'm not too happy with it. So there's that. Did I ever watch the YouTube series Hi, I'm a Marvel and DC? No, I haven't. I have not. So, well, okay, Luke spent half of the movie on Dagobah training in an Empire, but not in New Hope, right? And Rey spent half the movie on Octu training. So, and also how many days, right? How many days was Luke hanging out with Yoda? Probably not more than a couple, you know, given if you look at the way the movie plays out, the movie for Empire takes place like over the span of maybe like 2 days. So it's really not I mean, that's what it kind of feels like. So we don't know. We have no idea. These, I think people put far too much effort into being mad about something like that. I should, oh, should Netflix, I thought it said, hey, Matt should buy Netflix. I read that wrong cause I'm dyslexic. Okay. Thanks. Hypothesis. I'll take your Streamlabs here just in a second. GRH says, should Netflix buy DC? Yeah, actually they should. And here's the thing. Time Warner is going to sell DC. It's going to happen. Time Warner, if this AT&T merger goes through or doesn't go through, Time Warner is going to sell off DC. Not Warner, like Warner Brothers is going to sell off the brand. They're going to sell everything off. And at that point, it should strictly go to Netflix. Netflix should swoop in, should buy it up. And that would be a way to compete with the Disney streaming service. I think that's going to be the thing. I think that, yeah, I think that should happen. I think that's a really good idea. So there's definitely that. Mono Machis, thanks Star Wars shill. I like Star Wars, dude. Rocking the Ewok shirt today. I'm gonna go see Solo in an Ewok shirt. See if it gets any reactions from people. So there. Okay, so Hypothesis here asks, am I gonna get Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee for the Switch? Probably neither. I wasn't, I don't know anything about them, to be honest with you. But if I had to choose between Pikachu and Eevee, that would totally be like Pikachu. Like, I like Eevee, don't get me wrong, but it's Pikachu, man. You know, like my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Yellow. So, you know, I've been a Pikachu fan for over 20 years. So I probably just end up doing that. So that's fine. Let's see. Okay. Have I kept track of the PewDiePie Alinity situation? I need to talk about that on the main channel. Alinity, you know, is just a lot. It's just, I hate that shit. I hate false claims. I've had to strike down videos, not channels, but videos, from channels that take my stuff. And it's not something I like to do. And to do it so willy nilly because she gets money at the end of the month is just, bogus in my opinion. So, am I an Ewok in human skin? No, I'm not. Eevee is better than Pikachu. That's a debate for another day, Dest. That's a debate for another day. Synthesizer says maybe we'll get Dagobah Star Wars story and get the whole training sequence. Do I think any movie studio would work as a better handler for DC than Warner Brothers? Yeah, I do. Netflix would. The problem with DC is that they don't have a Kevin Feige. They thought they don't. They just don't have a Kevin Feige. And so there's that. Do I regret my Star Wars video? Of course not, man. I still don't like I still am very, very negative on The Last Jedi. I mean, you know, I gotta I still got the damn thing, but no, I don't regret anything I made about Star Wars. I have my opinions. You can agree with them or disagree with them. That's entirely fine. Okay. Did I see True to Mark's recent YTP on the topic? What is YTP? Kateni. I don't know what that is. You gotta fill me in. Have I talked about Soilo yet? No, I haven't, because I haven't seen the movie yet. I see it tonight. So YouTube takes their cuts and the IRS comes wanting theirs. What a bunch of crooks. Yeah. That's honestly why streamlabs.com/mundane Matt is a better way to, if you want to help out the channel, than Super Chats, is because YouTube takes their 30%. They take their pound of flesh. So, I don't know Ivan Ortega. What did he do on TLJ? What did he? Oh, okay. Hold on. Is it okay? Oh, so he remade or he recut the movie. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out because I mean the thing is Star Wars. The great thing about Star Wars is regardless, it sparks a discussion, and that's a great thing. That it sparks a discussion, and a lot of people can get involved, and it's a very lively discussion. And we'll be having a lot more lively discussions once the movie comes out. So all right, guys, we got about a minute and a half left. So if you guys got any last final quick questions, let me know. Oh, YouTube poop. Oh, I haven't seen a YouTube poop in a long time. If Disney does X-Men, should they do the Onslaught story? I don't know which one that one is. I'm not really like, I like comics, but I never really got into reading them. So cause for me, I get lost in, analysis paralysis. I start overthinking like where to start. And then I get lost because I don't know where to start. And that it screws me up on a lot of stuff. Okay, I'll check out. Yeah, I got his, I brought his channel up. I'll check it out. I'll check out his stuff. So, let's see here. Is Alinity a bimbo? I know she just, I don't know, just likes to copy strike stuff. I just find it funny. Yeah, Magog, I was streaming last night, man. I streamed for a couple hours last night. Where were you? Am I going to do any gaming on my channel? Not this channel. I do have a gaming channel I haven't touched in a long ass time. So I don't know, man. I need to. Do I think if there was a Wonder Woman movie where Medusa is alive, she would win? Because I think she would win. You know what? Medusa would be a formidable foe, and then Diana would find a way to beat her. So there's that. Oh, Professor X becomes evil. That'd be cool. I'd watch that. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the YouTube optimization subfeed thing. I do want a little more information than just a tweet. But I want there to be an actual explanation for it from them to dissect it further, simply because it's just the tweet itself is kind of like, there's not a lot of info there. And I don't want to like jump to conclusions, because a lot of people are jumping to conclusions right away. So, there's that, all right. Sorry, guys. Let's see. We've been on for, what is it? Okay, an hour now. So yeah, I gotta go. And look after my daughter and wrap up today's show. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. PST. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. I will be reviewing Solo tonight, so there will be a review, and at some point I will put out a review for Deadpool. I've seen it twice, so I should review it. If you guys want to know what I think about those movies, look for those particular videos. That being said, if you guys have any news stories you want me to cover, mundanematt.com/submit. There's also the Discord, which is discord.me/mundanematt. Link is in the video description. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a great day. Thank you so much for the awesome, lively conversation, and have a good one.